Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible stories of growth in all of human history, the Roman Republic. I mean, how does a single city-state on the Italian peninsula grow up to become one of the most powerful empires the world has ever seen? Well, let's find out.
Seriously, think about that question. How did this one city, surrounded by ancient kingdoms and powerful rivals, manage to just dominate all of them? And let me tell you, this didn't happen by accident. Nope, it was a perfect storm of radical new ideas, relentless ambition, and a series of absolutely brutal, high-stakes wars. We're going to break it all down.
So, the first piece of the puzzle is that Rome was different. You got to think of it like a disruptive startup in a world of old, stuffy monarchies. You know, while all its neighbors were ruled by kings who had absolute power for life, Rome decided to try something completely new, something revolutionary.
They came up with this idea: the Republic. The core concept was simple, but it was a total game changer. No more kings. Power was meant to be shared. Now, was it messy? Oh yeah, it was super competitive. But it also created this incredible system where ambitious people could rise up based on merit and leaders were actually accountable to the citizens. Well, at least the powerful citizens who could vote. This made for an incredibly dynamic and resilient political machine.
And it was this machine that allowed for an astonishingly rapid expansion. Just take a look at this timeline. The Republic is founded way back in 509 BCE, and for a couple hundred years it's mostly just focused on controlling Italy. But then, you see that date, 264 BCE? That's when everything just explodes. In a little over a century, Rome goes from being a regional Italian power to the undisputed master of the entire Mediterranean. It's just breathtakingly fast.
So, how in the world did they manage that kind of explosive growth? Well, the answer really lies with the core institution of the Republic, the Roman Senate. Right? If Rome was the startup, the Senate was its board of directors, this permanent council of the most powerful men in the state who guided its strategy for centuries.
And the Senate's power was just immense. First off, they controlled the money, the entire state budget. That meant they could fund Rome's gigantic armies. They also directed all foreign policy, deciding who Rome's friends were and, more importantly, who its enemies were. They appointed the generals leading those armies. They debated new laws, and here's the kicker: they managed all the new land Rome conquered. This created this powerful, self-feeding loop. Conquest brought in more land and more money, which the Senate then used to fund, you guessed it, even more conquest.
As the Senate pushed this super aggressive foreign policy, it put Rome on an unavoidable collision course. See, Rome wasn't expanding into an empty map. There was another superpower out there in the Mediterranean, the great trading empire of Carthage. The clash between these two titans was basically inevitable, and it led to a series of conflicts we now call the Punic Wars, a 100-year-long death match for total domination.
And this was a fascinating clash of styles. Rome was a land power, right? Its strength was its legions, these incredibly disciplined citizen soldiers. Carthage, on the other hand, was a sea power. Its strength was its massive navy and its incredible wealth from trade, which it used to just hire soldiers. It was the ultimate showdown, the elephant versus the whale.
So to win, Rome had to do something it had never really done before. It had to become a naval power fast. And the price of that education was just staggering. Get this. In the First Punic War alone, Rome lost over 500 warships. 500! I mean, that's an unbelievable number. Most countries would have just given up. They would have collapsed. But Rome's sheer determination and its huge reserves of people and resources meant they just kept building more ships and kept on fighting.
And in the end, that incredible persistence paid off. After 3 long, brutal wars, Carthage was completely and utterly destroyed in 146 BCE. With its only real rival gone, Rome was left in total control. The Mediterranean Sea, which was once this shared highway for all sorts of cultures, basically became a Roman lake. They even had a name for it: Mare Nostrum, our sea.
So that's the bottom line. Through this really unique political system, the long-term vision of its Senate, and just an unbreakable will to win, Rome transformed itself. It went from a single city to a Mediterranean superpower in what was, historically speaking, the blink of an eye.
So Rome had won. They ruled the world. But here's the thing. Their own success created a massive new problem. The Republican system that had fueled their rise to power was now stretched to the absolute breaking point, trying to govern this huge, multicultural empire. And that brings us to the ultimate question. Could a government that was designed for a small city-state possibly hope to rule the world? The answer to that question? Well, it would define the next and probably the bloodiest chapter in Roman history.